What's going on, everyone? So I'm actually just about to hop on a super interesting call right now. You guys are probably familiar with Dr. Brad Schoenfeld. I would hope most of you guys at least know the name from my Science Explained videos. So Schoenfeld and others have suggested. So the first is from Schoenfeld and colleagues, published in 2014 by Schoenfeld and colleagues. So enter this 2018 study out of Dr. Brad Schoenfeld's lab, led by Dr. Brad Schoenfeld. Dr. Brad reached out to me about a month ago and asked me if I would be willing to come and do a guest lecture for his exercise science class at his college in New York. So I'm about to hop on a Skype call with them now and basically just talk about how it is that I use my YouTube channel to communicate science to the general public. Super stoked to do this. It's a real honor. So shout out to Brad, shout out to his class, and wish me luck. I put training as number one, which I feel like a lot of people don't. Like, people will say, like, is 80% diet, 20% training or whatever. I think it's really hard to quantify it like that. Training takes primacy from me because without training, that is the spark that gets everything going, right? That's the stimulus. You can optimize your diet however much you want. You're not going to get much muscle growth unless you have that initial stimulus from the training. So I rank that as number one. And then Eric Helms, who's a guy I've interviewed a bunch of times, he says that nutrition is permissive to training. So that basically means that you optimize your nutrition to kind of augment the stimulus from the actual training. All right, guys, so we just finished up with the lecture. I thought that went really well. I thought the class asked some really good questions. Teaching at college, man. We've come a long way to Myth Plus Monday. So anyway, yeah, shout out to Brad and his class for having me on. I really did enjoy it. We're gonna go hit a push workout with my boy Patty Lifts. It's been forever since he's been on the channel. We've been training together a little bit, but you guys probably haven't seen him. So we're gonna go pick him up and smash a push workout. Let's go.
We haven't talked in a while. I'm all grown up now, but still feel like a child. And I'm sorry that I only holler when I need a favor. But all my people really need a savior. Enough about me.
There
What
he is.
about you, dog? You beefing with...
What's up, bro?
So I literally just realized this when I saw you, that this hat is literally the Bro Jeff hat in like every
Oh my
video.
God.
And it's Patty Lifts merch. The original Bro Jeff hat was the Limitless. It was like the broest looking thing that I own.
I'm getting a Roz hat.
So guys, you obviously haven't seen Pat in a minute. I actually haven't really either until like a couple days ago when we finally started training together again. I actually wasn't going to talk about this on the channel because it is like kind of personal for Pat, but I thought it was something that was worth bringing up because I feel like it is important and there's like a good, I think, teaching point there. So basically, I'm going to try to summarize this, Pat, but pretty much, I think it was, when was this? A few months ago, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so a couple months ago, Pat was having these really serious muscle cramps. And he messaged me about it because I had muscle cramps before, but then he was also starting to feel really sick. And it started happening more frequently, right, Pat?
Yeah.
So he went to the emergency room to the doctor to see what was up, and apparently his electrolyte levels were totally out of whack. Like, they did blood work, and I think the doctor said that the amount of damage in his muscles was similar to what you'd see in someone who'd been in like a fatal car accident or something. So basically, I don't think that they ever ended up giving him any kind of formal diagnosis. Did they? Or did they just say like extreme muscle damage or something?
They said rhabdo.
So they literally said it was rhabdomyolysis.
Yeah.
Basically, it results from extreme amounts of muscle damage. So people who are in like really serious accidents or even like some drug users can get it. Like, I think like heroin addicts and stuff like that. This is what Google tells me. But it also happens in people who very extremely hardworking athletes. So it doesn't really surprise me that Pat developed this. The reality is I think there were several contributing factors to this. And I don't say this for the sake of like wanting to scare you guys, but just to make you aware of the fact that this is something that can happen. I've heard of one other guy in my like 12, 13 years in the industry in some sense having gotten it, and he was a power lifter. His was much worse than yours if I remember right. I think he was out of the gym for almost a year or something after it, and he was in the hospital for a long time, whereas Pat's recovery was a couple weeks to a month.
Yeah.
I think that this came as a result of Pat having competed. He was very low body fat percentage for a long time. His body was obviously having difficulty recovering, and that's one of the things you see when you compete in a bodybuilding competition is your recovery just plummets. But because Pat is so disciplined and hardworking, he was still training really, really hard. And then it was actually after the competition that I think all of it eventually sort of caught up to him, and his electrolytes and his body's balance was basically just totally out of whack. So anyway, I think that the practical takeaway, what we can learn from this, is that I think, ooh, you go ahead, sorry, lady. Don't cross the sidewalk if the person isn't paying attention. That's the number one takeaway. One thing to definitely want to keep in mind is take your deloads, listen to your body, and realize that like more pain doesn't always mean more gain, because you could get to a point where you have to now take a lot of time off from the gym to recover, whereas if you had just maybe gone a little less hard, then you might have made slightly less gains acutely, but maybe more over the long term.
I definitely like to emphasize deloads a lot more. Make sure you're actually following your RPE. Don't let your ego get in the way of that. So if it's RPE 9, make sure you actually have that 1 rep left in the tank and not push it out. Yeah, just think ahead, plan ahead, listen to your body. If the cues are there and you need to take that rest, take the rest. More is not always better, and sometimes I am a stubborn person, so I definitely need to tone that back, and I learned the hard way. So hopefully it could help someone else out and that doesn't happen to anyone else.
In terms of Pat's recovery, from what I can tell, his upper body is pretty much good to go, but your lower body is still in that recovery process, so he just trains much lighter. His case may not have been as severe as some others, which we're lucky for, but still, I'd say now, even a few months later, like he still is being like much more cautious than what you'd normally be. Hey?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. All right. With that said, let's go PR. You know, at the same time, you don't want to be overly cautious to the point that now, like, you don't even take your training seriously, which is something I admire about Pat. Like, I feel like he has really kept himself in check from here forward, and he knows where his limits are better, and so I fully trust him. It's a serious condition, but we try to make light of it. All right, we're gonna go get after this push workout.
Oh, I'm already subscribed to you. I've been watching your shit. That's so funny. That's hilarious. Holy shit, that's so funny.
Yeah, he was too. He was like,
That's
Nice to meet you, man. This is so funny.
Yeah, I
He
was watching your video the other day.
He's like, you guys have a camera, like you must have a YouTube channel. Here, let me check you out, Jeff. Oh, you're the first Jeff that comes up.
Yeah,
Wait a minute,
no,
I'm already
I've watched
subscribed
a
to
few
you.
of your stuff. That's so funny. I was watching your trap video.
Oh, for real?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
that's
yeah. I
sick,
actually
man.
did that.
Yeah, we
after.
recorded it
Yeah.
here in Kelowna, like just.
Yeah, that's
it was
awesome.
at Body and Soul, yeah, man. Well, it's nice to meet you.
Yeah, you as well. I'm Kyle.
Kyle? Jeff,
Yeah,
nice
good
to meet you,
to meet
bro.
you,
Right
man.
on, man. It's actually been about 2 weeks since I've done any of the compound lifts, so I finished my push-pull legs program, set a semi-new deadlift PR. I talked about that in another video, so I'll link that one below if you want to check it out. Now I'm kind of in between programs, so I'm still writing my next upper-lower phase, which I will be releasing on my website. But in the meantime, I'm kind of just doing like intuitive training at the moment, doing somewhat of a deload and focusing more on just like exercise variation, not sticking to these compound movements. So this will be the first time I will have benched in a couple weeks, so we're gonna see how it goes, but it's all about Pat today. I can't wait to see how he does, man. He's been killing his bench. He's nuts. Rhabdo and all. Oh, that's nice. Feels so good. Just taking a couple weeks off makes all the difference. Everything's just like firing properly. There's no clicks, no slight pains, nothing. It's perfect.
oh, yeah.
1, 2, 3. Oh yeah.
Lightweight.
Feels good, man. Yeah, it's crazy, man.
Oh.
All right.
The last time I competed in powerlifting, Jeff was my handler, and then it was my last deadlift. I was prepping for a show, and he said, one more deadlift between you and arm day for prep. that was my hype up for my third attempt on deadlift.
Sounds like something I would say. Pat is like the least hyped lifter I've ever coached. Like his hype up is like a nap. I don't know. He just meditates. Like,
Gotta get my zone.
easy, good. So like you guys haven't seen Pat in a while, but he has made some crazy strength gains. You're gonna like stick around, just stick around for another minute. You're about to see it. On 3, all right? 1, 2, 3. Ah, here we go. That felt better than expected.
That's easy, bro.
That was way easier than expected, yeah. That's a good sign. Pat just said the last time he touched this, 365, he did it for 5. My all-time PR with 365, I think is 1. Did I do 2? I did it with it for a double, right? I've definitely
But you've
done
done
it.
more. You benched more overall.
More weight overall.
Yeah.
405?
Didn't you hit more than 4 plays before?
No, 405 is my record.
405?
But it was a bad rep. It was like, I think my butt was popping up and everything. So. Anyway, something light.
Some slight work, bro. Slight work.
Make it look easy. Let's go. Lightweight for you. Let's go. There we go, Pat. Lightweight, let's go. Oh yeah, easy, super. Nice. Woo. Looking a little easy.
Honestly,
A little suspicious.
suspicious. For real though, what did you?
Look like a rhabdo patient to me. All right, this is like attempt number 2 at the meet. All right, this is easy for you.
Yeah.
That's all it is. This is attempt number 2. Let's go. Let's go. All right, Pat, let's go. Come on, let's get it. There we go. Come on, Pat, let's get it. Drive it, drive it, drive it. All you, drive it. Woo!
Oh, man. That's too fucking high, bro. Oh shit, my bad. Man, that actually felt so crazy. Like I did hit that weight a couple weeks ago, but I'm down 8 pounds, so it's a body weight PR. And it's crazy because the last time I actually went for a max was 4 years ago. It was 355.
Really?
Yeah, so 355 so my bench only went up 10 pounds a year since then.
Right.
But it just feels
That's
amazing,
unreal,
you know?
man. Like, I think that your strength potential is higher than you even realize. Like, I feel like you've got a crazy bench in there because he's cutting right now and like still hitting PRs, so it's absolutely insane. Anyway, we're gonna finish out the rest of this push workout. We're gonna do some shoulder work, a little bit more chest work, and then a little bit of triceps at the end. But we're gonna put that in an edit for you guys, so we're gonna get into that right now.
For the record, yeah. For the record, yeah. For the record, yeah. For the record, yeah. For the record, for the record. So nice to y'all. Now I gotta up price on y'all. Snake eyes on dice for y'all. Shoulders on ice for y'all. Frozen. H6 all the hate. I won't get involved today. Got lost in the ball and eggs. I'm flipping the balls, I'm flipping the